camera is on. Steve, how are you? So sound is good, right? I trust we're probably 5 by 5. G'day, Ron. I've sent your email off, right, to very, very smart people. All right, we're good. Right, but good. We are good. Right, so guys, I've just done a quick powwow with the big bosses at the trading pit.
Hi everyone. Hi.
Hi everyone.
Nice to see everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure. So guys and girls, we'll get on with it. Remy, how are you? Hope you're running good. Craig, hope you're absolutely awesome. Now, guys, we're going to be running for the next 3 days. Very excited to be running the live trading room, guys, in partnership with TTP. So Mark is saying hello to the big bosses at TTP. Hello, big bosses. So that being said, guys, we're going to run the partnership obviously for the next 3 days. Really quite exciting opportunity to do what we do. Now the markets are looking a little bit quiet today, so sort of similar to this day, a little bit quiet, but they're going to get very noisy tomorrow and even noisier on Friday. So there's a number of sort of geopolitical trigger events that are going to push the markets around. So guys, we're going to run through our CCN. So we'll run through our preparation here. So typically we do around about 10 or so minutes worth of preparation, and then we bring on the charts. I've got all the briefing notes ready to go to brief you into the trading session. So regardless of whether you are a NASDAQ trader, FDAX trader, or S&P 500 trader, you will be in a really good little position to take advantage of the market today. As we will be hunting as we normally do, hunting for trades in the first 35 to 40 minutes of the hour. They are the ones that run at the absolute highest probability. So we'll just do what we normally do every day. There's certainly no surprises. We just do the same thing constantly, and that's why we are so consistent. Now, the flip side of that, ladies and gents, because we are sort of presenting across multiple jurisdictions today, we do need to cover quite a few of the CCNs, or customer caution notices. So I have to mention, for those trading futures or CFDs today, there is risk, obviously, in trading those. One of the primary derivers of that risk, guys, is the fact you are going to be trading on margin. All right, what does that mean? You borrow a little bit of money every time you take a trade. What does that ultimately mean? You can make money very quickly. You can also lose money very quickly. So we are ultimately professional risk controllers, and you're going to see that goes throughout today. If you haven't traded with us before, guys, I will nominate on every trade the entry point. I'll actually show you where to get in. I'll talk about your targets. I'll also talk about what we refer to as an RCP, or a risk control point. That's going to be the point where I want you to neutralize the risk on the trade or consider reducing the risk on the trade. Now, typically we have between 60 and 70 traders in the room. We had 77 traders yesterday. So we're literally just cruising up towards that 80 trader mark. There will be some different opinions out there in the LTR. There always is. There's always going to be different experience levels as well. So if you are brand new to trading, please just stick to the closed candle trades. I'll make sure I'm very clear on that closed candle trade. But if there's any confusion at all, ladies and gents, when the market counts down to zero, when that little candle counts down to zero, that's when we make a decision for the new or the beginner traders on whether they're going to be taking a trade or not. Slightly more advanced traders will enter dynamically, which is during the actual formation of the candle itself. Now, further on our CCNs, ladies and gents, everything we're going to be doing today is general information only. Thank you, Steve. I'll get to those numbers in 1 second. As we've also got to say that the past performance of any financial product can no longer be used as a reference for future performance. We used to be allowed to, we used to be able to do that, and then the fund police jumped in and said, you can't do that anymore. So all I can do is show you the trades we take today as an indication of what we do. The flip side of that, guys and girls, every day I put a video out on YouTube saying this is what we've done in the live trading room today. Here are the NASDAQ figures, S&P and FDAX. Now I do my best to execute all of those trades. I've been in some sessions, we pick up 12 to 14 trades. Suffice to say today, I think based on the lead-in volume, so currently sitting at just under 30,000 at the moment. So I'd suggest by the time we get to open, we'll be sitting at 35,000. What does that mean? We're expecting probably 9 to 11 trades across the 3 markets for the trading session itself. Now, that being said, ladies and gents, past performance and market factors risk notice. At the end of the day, guys, I would love you to read this entire CCN. But at the end of the day, what it basically says is that as much as we can do our best to call you in and out of the market, guys, not everybody's performance is going to be identical to us because there's this beautiful thing called the human variable. So please do, guys, please do trade your experience, trade to your set targets, trade to your stops, trade to everything that you normally do. then we will just do our best, guys, to call as many profitable trades as we can. Now, my history, very, very quickly, guys and girls, I'm the CTO or Chief Trading Officer, guys, at Doro. I'm the lead educator. I've actually written the entire trading system from scratch myself. Where did that come about? 2007, I discovered futures trading. Very quickly, I realized there were no decent futures trading schools in Australia. So I decided that I would just start my own trading school and write my own strategies. And here we are. I was a little bit after 2009. And guys and girls, going really, really well. Going really, really well. So I've had the opportunity now to move overseas. So I live in Japan. I work out of Singapore, and we are taking advantage of the Singapore jurisdiction to grow, ideally, the biggest trading school we possibly can. Now, a quick revision, guys, what we're going to be doing strategy-wise today, which is really, really important. The 3 wows are the ones that you really need to pay attention to. We've got around about 8 strategies we're going to implement today. Every single one of those is based on CSA, which is candlestick analysis. That's where we basically analyze one candle to the previous candle. So we'll be doing that. We'll focus on the rule of 3, efficiency and Fibonacci. Fibonacci is huge for us because we are ultimately futures traders. Guys, all the way down to ratios, guys, so you can enter ratio-based trades as well. And we're also going to be talking about ABC and the stair step. All right, so there's going to be a lot going on today. If you're brand new to trading, this will literally be baptism. This will be baptism by fire this afternoon. But suffice to say, guys and girls, to quantify, I've got traders in the live trading room with me this afternoon that have been trading with me for 15 years. And I've got some traders that have been trading with us for 1 week and a myriad of combinations. Okay, now, all of that said, we are going to follow one of our biggest mantras here, the little muscle guy down the bottom right-hand corner. We are going to let the market do the heavy lifting. So we don't second guess what the market's going to do. We also don't second guess the signal set. We're basically going to let the market generate the signal for us. The market will tell us, particularly as futures traders, exactly how much risk to hold on every trade, where our target should be, the time duration of every trade. I'm expecting this afternoon for the FDAX traders to have an average time in trade of around 3.5 minutes. NASDAQ, you'll be 7.5 minutes. For the long range traders, you'll be around 12 to 13 minutes. All right, now we'll modify that on the run if we need to, but suffice to say, guys, that's what I'm expecting. So we are going to let the market do the heavy lifting. As I'll jump on some microphones in a second to bring you online. As for those that haven't been in the LTR before, the format of the LTR is as per that graphic there. So for the junior traders, guys, you're on the left-hand side of the screen. You're on the S&P 500, one of the highest volume, slowest moving markets in the world. So very, very predictable, very, very high strike rate. NASDAQ, guys, awesome for junior traders, but it does move quickly, so you're going to have to be on your toes. FDAX for expert traders only, please. And the FESX in the bottom right-hand corner is your reference chart. We basically use that. FESX is the biggest chart in the world, or the biggest market in the world right now, guys, bigger than anyone else in the world, so bigger than currencies and oil and gold and so on and so forth. That said, guys and girls, we're going to use the FESX as our reference chart. Okay, now a couple of things to expect in the LTR, if I can. Now, those that have been in the LTR before, you know what I'm talking about. But those that have not been in the LTR, guys, we go for profit first, guys. So it's profit first, education second. The reason being is that I will be executing trades in the background, guys. So will my wife. We've got to make sure I do a reasonable job of calling trades, otherwise she'll be very angry. Suffice to say, I will be trading, guys, my own live money in the background. That's what I do every day. So that said, normally speaking, we will spend around about 90 minutes in the charts. We normally focus on the first 35 to 40 minutes of each hour because that's when we get the most volatility and also the most profit. The LTR runs at a plus 90% strike rate, so we'll try and do that again today. We did have one losing trade on the NASDAQ yesterday after a number of winning trades. That was our first loss for the week, which is a little bit disappointing. Mind you, a number of traders traded significantly more than I did yesterday, guys, and didn't actually get that losing trade. Now, another thing about transparency, guys and girls, everything I do every day is put on YouTube. So if you are a fan of YouTube, you can go and check out the short videos at Doro. As effectively yesterday, we only made around 220 US dollars on the FDAX, made around about 900 on the NASDAQ, and you can go and see those figures there on YouTube for you. Ready to rock and roll. Now, in terms of personal considerations, it's really, really important. If I can, the best trade for you is the one that makes most sense to you. So this is the trade that is easiest for you to see and the easiest for you to understand and trade. If you're brand new to trading, guys, that'll be a closed candle trade. So we'll wait for the 5-minute candle to count down to 0 and then go. That being said, if you're brand new, completely brand new, never been here before, please watch and listen. Guys, I'll answer as many questions as I can. but they will be in the last 15 minutes of the hour. We're going to go profit first, right? Then we're going to go education second. Now, if you are an experienced trader, clearly you're welcome to take, guys, and trade everything I discussed and more. So some of you have been trading very, very well for the last 15 years. So just do whatever you normally do. In saying that, thank you to the Trading Pit for having us today. There are some very, very heavy hitters in our group this afternoon, so they'll enjoy that. Guys, please note that I'm going to seek to maximize the profit on every trade. So what I'm going to ultimately do is give you a couple of different target options. We are going to roll with a very, very stock standard risk control point. So once we've moved the market to a certain level, I'll say to the junior traders, guys, you're at your risk control point. That means you need to start reducing your risk, or you need to cut off your risk completely. So we're going to try and let the profit run on every trade. Guys, we're going to cut the risk off early, as we do every day. The intent is to engineer every one of these trades into a trade where it's at least 5 to 10 times risk to reward in our favor. That's what we tend to try and do every day. Okay, so we don't know what the market's going to give us yet. However, it looks like it's going to go down, and I think it's going to go down pretty hard. So that is really good fun, guys, when everyone else around the world panics. So please note, guys, that I don't want you to take a trade that is over your required risk profile. So everybody knows how much money they're happy to risk on a trade. Please don't go over that. And please also don't take a trade, guys, that you don't normally take. Okay, that's really important. So live charts, guys, what I'm going to do, let me click a couple of buttons for you here. As I do that, guys and girls, let me turn on some microphones. I have a number of people that are going to be assisting me today, as we do every day. So let me
Meanwhile, we're just going to say, guys, happy trading. We're going to join you towards the end again for a few minutes. But guys, have fun. Good luck trading today. Listen to Mr. Lucky, and we'll see you in a bit.
If it goes well, we'll be really happy. All right. So guys and girls, let me grab some microphones. We'll do a quick sound check. Ahmed in Sydney, you are on. Your mic is...
Hi, Matt. Hi, everyone.
Hello, mate. Bali, you're online. Bali's online, ready to roll. Hello, young Cody. You're amazing.
Hi,
Hello, mate. Now, I'm just looking for... As I'm scrolling for microphones. Scrolling. Tim, Central Coast, Sydney, Central Coast, New South Wales, you're online, and we'll keep building, guys. So there'll probably be about 8 mics on in the background, just depending on guys, the demand for what we're going to be doing. All right, so bottom right-hand corner, guys and girls, I'm going to break out my charts. Martin, how are you down in Melbourne? Hope you are absolutely brilliant. So, guys, we are going to start our breakdown. So normally around 15 minutes before we start the session, which is around about now, as we normally sort of break down what we're expecting the market to do. So my first observation for everybody is the volatility is down at the moment. So the volatility is quite low leading into our session. So we are going to end up in a technical session. Ultimately, the reason being is there is no news. Right? There is no news in the market this afternoon. So what does that ultimately mean? It's going to be primarily driven by fundamentals. Absolutely no question about that. So let me break that down a little bit for everybody so we can kind of start to develop an expectation as to what we're going to be getting. Now, at this stage, I would suggest, as we're looking for low volatility targets to start, and then if we get a little bit of attitude in the market, we're going to start to increase it out. G'day, Diane, how are you? I hope you're absolutely fantastic. All right, so bottom right-hand corner, guys and girls, if I can, really quickly, the S&P volume I'm expecting to hit 35,000, currently running at just on 31,000. So we've got a little bit of momentum we need to build before we get a wriggle on. As there is no news tonight, so it is a technical night. So we're going to be basically reversing off Fibonacci's and pivots primarily. If we do get a breakout, it'll be driven by Europe. It always is driven by Europe, guys. So if it is driven by Europe, absolutely brilliant. Europe does have a gap to close, goes to the downside. So let me explain for the new traders what I mean by this. All right, so Europe's looking really, really short. Really short. Now, what do we mean by a gap? Guys, can everybody see on this chart down here? This is the FESX. It's a 4-hour chart. Okay, so down here, can everybody see the gap between these candles where the market has physically jumped? Now, all of these candles should be overlapping, right? So the gaps become pretty obvious. What that ultimately means The FESX, guys, as a financial market, cannot stay gapped. It has to close. Okay, it's mechanically impossible, mathematically impossible. It can't not close the gap, right? So what that means is there's going to be a very, very high, there's a very, very high intensity, or should I say very, very high chance that these guys are going to try and close the gap. Right now, looking at today, they've still got, so if you go to the top right-hand corner, this is the FDAX, which is the little brother and sister of the FESX. They've still got their gap to close from yesterday, but then they've got a gap to close from a number of days ago, and they've got a gap to close from further down here. Ash, why is that? Yeah, so the reason it's got to close the gap, mate, it's as futures traders, really, really, really important, Ash, that we delineate between futures versus, let's say, forex, for example. So because so many people around the world believe the gap's got to be closed, the gap will eventually be closed. Now, it might not be closed today, so there's a little bit of a trap here, guys and girls. There'll be a lot of people out there in the world that say, oh, I trade the gap close. Right, so that all they do is they basically wait for the market to open. And today, because the gap is down, they just push the sell button. The problem is it might go against them for 4 or 5 days, and that normally blows them out of the water. So as we've got to be careful, we're not gap close traders. And there are a couple of gap close strategies out there in the world, but at the end of the day, they primarily say there's a gap in the market, it's got to be closed. It works with futures, it doesn't work with forex. Now, ultimately, it doesn't work with forex because the broker defines the gap. So if the broker doesn't want the gap to be closed, they won't let it be closed. They control the data feed. Whereas with futures, no one controls the data feed except the futures exchange. So that's why, again, futures traders, we all believe the gap's got to close, therefore it normally does. But mathematically, it's got to close as well. And that's because there are contracts. There are literally contracts, if I can borrow this arrow, there are trades that are waiting to settle in these gaps just here. Okay, so now what might occur, mate, what might occur is we get bad news out of the US in 2 nights' time, and you might find the FESX literally just does this, literally spikes down. I'm trying to get that to spike. All right, so it literally rolls down. It just touches this level here, turns around and goes back the other way, and people are like, wow, what did that just bounce off? Well, the futures traders like, well, it just closed the gap, you know. So so you just have to be a little bit careful with the gap, guys, because again, it could romance you into taking a trade that is not actually valid, right? So we've got some gaps to close to the downside. Now, further to that, we're in a very, very interesting place here because the FESX, guys, the FESX has basically sold off this level before. So it's actually a really quite prominent level on the larger charts, like the 60 to 4 hour and the daily chart. But the problem, we've got a really, really strong, guys, really, really strong buy point here in the market as well. So what I would suggest, guys, and again, please don't ever try and preempt the market direction in the pre-market. So we're currently in the European pre-market. This is before the gun goes. So it's very, very quiet. There'll be a lot of people out there in the world that try and trade in the pre-market. They try and get in early, you know, hoping the market runs in their favor. I would not do that, guys and girls, if I was you, only because at the end of the day, we don't know where the Europeans are going to take us. I would suggest today, because we've opened in a 4 hour long, which I've written on the chart for you there. We've opened in a 4 hour long. So the propensity is for these guys to buy the market hard. So I think we're going to buy on open. Right? I think we're going to buy on open. We're going to run up, and I'm thinking that buy is going to fail. Okay, so now that's what I'm thinking. Now, mind you, that doesn't mean I'm just going to put a 4 hour retracement onto that chart, guys. Again, you'll note it's green. All of the different Fibonacci's, if you haven't been in the session before, all the different Fibonacci's are color coded, ultimately where they've come from. I note that just so you guys are aware, this monthly or this orange Fibonacci down the bottom here, that's off a monthly chart. Got pink is off the weekly, and we got blue off the daily. So at the moment, as the Europeans are bouncing off a 90% daily Fibonacci. So that's kind of a positive. That's going to get some positive vibe coming into the market. But I tell you, if they can't break outside this trading range, guys, if they get caught at these two little dark green Fibonacci's here, if they get caught at that, we're looking at a beautiful sell, like really, really lovely sell. Okay, so now we do this kind of debrief every day, guys and girls, follow the same format every day. And as a result, we should be able to pick up basically the same result as what we did. over the last couple of months, over the last couple of years, in fact. So there's a previous sell point here, very, very strong buy point. The beauty of the buy point, ladies and gents, if these guys can't hold above it, the buy point's not holding, the market's going to sell down and we'll just follow our normal signal set. A big one, there's no news tonight at all, ladies and gents, during our session. So when we get no news, it's 100% a technical session. It's all about Fibonacci's, candlestick analysis. It's all about, basically, it's all technical. There's no fundamental influence at all. Now, if I go across, I was going to move cameras around the place for a moment. Let me move these cameras around the place. Now, for the, what I might do, guys and girls, during the actual session, because my camera takes up space on your screen, I might actually turn that camera off just for a little bit, just to make sure it's not interfering with what we are seeing or doing. Now, I do want to highlight this point, guys, and if I can. So please note that the FESX is open. That's the big one down the bottom right-hand corner. It does affect the American traders, guys, quite heavily. So please note the FESX is opened into a strong 4-hour long, but does not have far to go before it runs into key selling levels. So we might find, ladies and gents, that we get sort of a buying burst on open, really, really nice buying burst on open. If that can't get and hold, if it can't basically start buying and hold above, the key level for the FDAX is actually 785. Okay, just across here. So if we can't get above and hold above 785, if we can't get above and hold above 785, then effectively what we're going to do is we're going to get a really, really lovely sell down right across the board. Okay, but we are going to have to be careful. Please don't preempt that by putting a sell order at 785. So I'll tell you how to handle. I'll tell you how to handle that when we get there. Now, guys, expanding out, I'm going to get rid of that comment there. We've got a very, very strong sell point here on the S&P 500. It's very, very strong sell point just here. I do note with interest, as if I can, that the S&P, for the Fibonacci fans, the S&P is bouncing off. Okay, bouncing off this 4-hour Fibonacci perfectly. All right, so you see this bounce here, right? There's obviously another bounce here as well. And then they've cruised back down, hugged at this one, and then bounced off the 4-hour fib. So that says to me, ladies and gents, that the S&P 500 traders think they're in a 4-hour chart trade. Ironically, we've got a 4-hour long as on the European market. So it would look like we've actually got agreement between all the markets today. Danzy, how are you? I'll just jump on your microphone for you. Okay, so your microphone is ready to rock and roll.
Evening, mate.
No, guys, that said, point being, if I can, I'm using what we call a 5th generation indicator. You'll probably notice that my charts are very, very fast. Just as a reference point, I'm running more than 28 different charts, very, very detailed charts. And you'll note right across the board, guys, indicators are super fast. So this is the 5th generation of indicator. All of the Doro clients will get their indicator update this weekend. As well, guys, as well, the 101 course is finished. All right, so therefore, there's a fair bit, guys. There's a fair bit to celebrate in the camp. There's no doubt about that. Now, for our Nasdaq traders, guys, new traders, if you're in doubt, guys, please go for closed candle trades only. So we're going to be, I suggest the majority of new traders today are going to be static as opposed to dynamic. Let me just get rid of some windows here. For the Nasdaq traders, guys, for the Nasdaq traders, I've actually drawn your Fibonacci down to catch them on the way up. Okay, so done that very, very much on purpose. The key point about drawing them down on the way up, I do note, guys, on the 60-minute chart, we're looking pretty good time-wise. On the 60-minute chart, as we're honoring these Fibonacci's perfectly on the way back up. So it would be really, really exciting if the Nasdaq decided to buy to the twins. Guys, if the Nasdaq did decide to buy to the twins and get stuck, as that means we're looking for a really, really nice push up to these levels here. As again, if we go much higher than that, we're into 4-hour chart territory. Right, so we'll keep a cunning eye on that. For the S&P 500, interesting point. You're using exactly the same Fibonacci. I note with interest, guys, that you've already kissed your evil twins, guys, or your golden twins, depending on which side of the fence you sit on. You've basically come through, hit these very, very key market Fibonacci's. I note there's a disconnect, guys, between the S&P and the Nasdaq. The disconnect is that the S&P is already beyond the 76s. The Nasdaq is below the 76s. So those markets are likely to come into synergy. Roy, what are the key points to look for with the indicators? Oh, holy moly. Mate, so I'm running on my chart. Let me just check my time. So I've got good time. Right, I'll be able to run through this for you with a little bit more detail. You're watching for ultimately, Roy, you're watching for delta V1. Okay, so that's a delta V1 indicator just there. You're watching for delta V2, which is a higher volatility indicator. I'm just looking for a V2. Don't have one on the screen, but we will get one. There's certainly a million of them last night. It was quite brilliant. So you're watching for this one. You're watching for efficiency. So you're watching for the strength of the market. You're watching for an SBR, so static bar reversal warning as well. You're looking for loss of efficiency. You're watching for this one as well. So guys, the interesting point, guys, so the delta V1, V2, just please be aware that we're the only people in the world that run the delta V1 and V2. Reason being is that I wrote the code specifically for Doro, so there is no one else in the world that has that code. Now, moving on, we'll do that later. For the FTX traders, big point, guys, if we can't get above 785, which is currently the pre-top, it's a very, very, very strong sell point, guys, on larger markets. If we can't get above that, we're going to be picking up a short. There's a backup sell point here, guys and girls, being yesterday's high. I note the FTX has just decided to trade out of the range on the 4-hour chart. Okay, so let's bring this on. So here's my 4-hour chart. Guys, here's my 4-hour chart. The next obvious high point is just here. I think we can do better on the 4-hour chart than that, personally. Okay, we'll work on that in a moment. Some of the backup traders may have a better 4-hour fib than I do, guys. That's why we have backup traders. Now for the DAX, guys and girls, it's all about selling. It's all about selling. I'm very, very interested with this yellow circle over here. Very, very interested, guys. Obviously, a series of static bar reversals through here. Very, very interested to see what the market does with those in the open. I was very interested to do that. I'm going to get rid of this little circle here so we don't confuse. So in a nutshell, as for those that have not been in the session before, for those that haven't been in the session before, please don't trade the opening candle of FTX until you know exactly what you're doing. Cody, I appreciate that. It's a busy day. What we're looking for at this point in time, ladies and gents, is we're looking for the opening candle. We've got an extreme volume indicator built into the charts. That's another really good indicator, young Roy. Really, really good one. So point being is I'm looking for a 133 Fibonacci extension failure off the dominant candle. That'll normally pull the FTX up really, really nicely. So the opening candle traders, as we've got around about 1 minute and 40 seconds to get ready for that trade. At this stage, I'm looking for them to push up to this tighter Fibonacci extension. If they go beyond the 161.8 extension, guys, they've basically outstayed the extension, so we won't need that extension anymore. Guys, let me just push this camera away. We're about 60 seconds from open, so just hold on one sec. I'll turn that one off just to give you some more, guys, just give you some more chart space. Now, if we do run, guys, it looks like a 15-minute chart Fibonacci on the young FTX. So let me just get that in place. All right, so I'm going to bring in a different Fibonacci, ladies and gents. I'm going to color it differently. Okay, let me color it differently for you. Okay, so template will load. This is a green one. Okay, so we've got basically 2 target zones, guys and girls. The 2 target zones on the FTX to the high side for a potential reversal. We're getting very, very close to that reversal point now, guys, for the really, really tight pattern. The higher pattern is that 133 just above here. So I would suggest for the FTX traders, as we're probably going to pick up an R1 reversal. It'll be a pre-top. All right, there goes the extreme volume warning already. So it's either going to be a pre-top reversal, as pre-top reversal, or an R1. Guys and girls, key point, please make sure you're connected to the right accounts. You've got the right ATMs loaded. Guys, if you are copy trading, Please make sure that with your copy trading that you're copying to the right account, guys, with the right ATMs loaded and everything else. Now note, please, ladies and gents, immediately that the buyers have gone straight to the 133, 141.4 combination. All right, so at this point in time, as the only reversal setting up for the FTX traders, if you really know what you're doing, guys, is short off the R1 at 796. So be short off the R1 at 796. Your first target is 791. Now, this is only for very, very experienced traders, please. Most junior traders will wait for the candle to close before we then get our entry. Now, we typically wait, guys and girls, around about 60 to 90 seconds. We wait for the candle to go climactic. It's honoring these Fibonacci levels quite well at this stage, guys, at this stage. So we'll just see what these guys are up to. I would suggest just watching the FESX, guys. Note that we've got that very, very strong buy point in the market. So if the FESX can't buy and hold above that break point, guys, we're probably going to sell down relatively aggressively, I would suggest. Okay, so we've been buying now for 90 seconds. As the 90-second buyers are not really impressing anybody. US markets, we leave you a little bit alone, right? So a little bit alone until we know what Europe's doing, because ultimately Europe's got command at this point in time. I'd suggest for the Europeans, if the DAX is on the opening candle, which is what we're doing now, if the DAX doesn't absolutely plummet, we're probably going to pick up, guys, just a series of slow grinding buy signals today as the market moves. Now, this FTX looks like a lot like it's going to try and reverse. So the flip side of reversing, thank you, mate. The flip side of reversing is that, again, there's a lot of buying volume, guys, almost 1,000 contracts going into this candle long. At this point in time, the buyers are not really impressing anybody yet. Now, as that volume burns out, guys, as the volume burns out, then the sellers around the world are probably going to see the buyers failing. We've already got extreme volume warnings already. So again, those that know what they're doing are going to see the buyers running out of steam, and will probably push us back to at least the 50 fib of the day. Now, interesting point, guys, for the FTX traders. If we do go back under yesterday's high, so currently we're above yesterday's high. If we do go back to yesterday's high, as we do go back to yesterday's high and we get caught inside yesterday's high, we're going to be looking for what could be a relatively healthy move to the downside, may I suggest. Okay, so at this point in time, let's just watch what they're doing. So if you're short, guys and girls, at 96, so if you are short at 96, your target is 91, and you've obviously gone through your target quite happily. That's now the flip side of that. As what we're looking for is, again, so the experienced traders, if you've gone short at 96, your target is 91. You've just traded as low as 90, which means you should be out of that trade. The flip side is, guys, we're now into the last 90 seconds of the candle, which means we're not going to take a new trade. Instead, what we're going to be looking for is a lead from the FESX as to what it would like to do. Now, for those traders who are watching the FESX very, very closely, as the FESX may try and get above its pre-market top. That is a very, very strong sell point from previous days trading. So that will be a massive campaign on behalf of the FESX to get up there. Traditionally, the FESX will go and touch the 50 fib of the day inside the cash market, which it has not done yet, which means we should, at this point in time, we should mathematically be trying to sell as opposed to buy the market. All right, now we'll just watch what they do coming into open, guys. Please note that we don't take a trade inside the last 90 seconds. We're just waiting for the markets to ultimately tell us what they're thinking. The NASDAQ traders at this point in time, NASDAQ may be picking up a buying trade. So you may be picking up a buying trade. I'm just going to have to do some maths on your Fibonacci's. All right, let me just have a quick look at what you're doing Fibonacci-wise. Now, the strength indicator, guys, sitting behind that candle is sitting at a 2 strength rating. We don't have agreement from the S&P. So for the NASDAQ traders at this stage, we're not going to go long over the top of the candle. In fact, if anything, we're going to be looking for reasons to go short. Let me just double check that Fibonacci extension. For the FDAX traders, guys, at this point in time, we don't have any new trades. We don't have any new trades. At this stage, they've gapped onto the pre-market box. If you are short already on the pre-market box at 92, guys, your target is 87. That's for those people that trade once the opening candle is closed. So if you are short at 92, guys, your target is 87. You've just gone through your target. Okay, so well done. I do think the FDAX is likely, I do think it's likely to try and kiss the 50 fib of the day, which is just below here. So it would be really, really normal for the FDAX and the FESX to both go and double check its 50 fib. The FESX has just done that once. All right, so do keep an eye on this bottom right-hand corner, guys. Really, really important stuff. Okay, really important stuff. For the DAXI traders, who are short, guys, so pre-market box short, just confirming, guys, you're short at 92, target's 87, you've already traded at 79, so you guys should be out. Can you please, guys, feed back to me your targets? You guys are doing quite well. Craig, well done. Matt, well done. Good job. Steve, you've got the NQ150 extension. Okay, good. All right, there is a larger extension at play here, guys, on the NASDAQ. All right, so let me go and have a play with you, and we'll find out what it is. So DAXI traders at this stage, you've either picked up the R1 short or the pre-market box short. Guys, again, the first trade for experienced traders, second trade, not so much. Guys, you know this pre-market box, we normally pick it up every day. All right, so again, please just roll. As volatility, actually really good little learning for those that don't know what we're doing. This is a target indicator on the top left-hand corner. So guys, if you are trading the FDAX, a 5-point target, the machine is saying go for up to 14 points. So your chance of getting a 5-point target is ridiculously high. Okay, ridiculously high. Now, Fibonacci, I would suggest we're playing this game just here. Right, so this is the most recent ABC leading into what the NASDAQ is doing. It's either that one. Guys, it's either that one or, let's have a look. This is going to be a super ugly, it's going to be super ugly, but I think it's the ABC that switched the trend. Okay, let's have a quick look. Oh, and hey presto, look at this. There's the 133 fib extension. That's exactly where they normally fail. So what we're going to do, ladies and gents, at this stage, we're going to leave that Fibonacci on. I'd suggest that's what they're using. So what it does mean, all right, we're not long over the top of the candle, which is very, very smart. Okay, we're not long over the top of the candle. What we're waiting is for this candle to close. Okay, we're going to wait for this candle to close. Steve, you may have a better Fibonacci than I do. I'm going to drop, guys, let me drop fibs. I'm going to drop down to a 60-minute fib and see what I can get. Target on the S&P 4 ticks, please. Cody, thank you. Target ES 4 ticks. Okay. Guys, the Fibonacci on NASDAQ is really ugly. Right now, I'm being very nice. The Fibonacci is actually quite ugly today. So that means no one is going to know what they're doing Fibonacci-wise unless we get an exact match. That's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. I believe. Now, if you've got a better Fibonacci number, guys, please feed it in. That would be amazing. And Cody, if you need to jump on the mic, mate, or Damsey or anybody, if you want to jump on the mic, please do. Now, FDAX traders, you may have picked up an R1 reversal, guys, at the price I gave you. You may have also picked up the pre-market box reversal for those that have already trained. Okay. Note, Diane, if I can, the failure at the 133 fib extension off the 60-minute chart. That's exactly where they failed yesterday, and they failed at exactly the same point again today. Now, guys, if you wanted a non-opening candle reversal off the R1, you can wait for the buyers to push back up over the top of the R1, and we're going to be selling it short again at 96. Guys, that'll happen inside the new candle. Okay, inside the new candle. Now, for those that can't see numbers, guys, at this point in time, sitting at 71 traders in the LTR, we banged into 77 yesterday. So I believe by the end of the month, we'll probably be hitting 80. So it's the LTR is slowly but surely gathering a degree of I won't say fandom. Fandom sounds a bit arrogant, but
That's a
I would
4-point turning bar on FECX there, block.
right, yes. Okay, good. So we are going, guys. So we're basically the 4-point turning bar on the FESX is probably the most powerful reversal candle in the world, bar none. And Damsey is 100% on the money. Guys, Damsey, thank you for that. So what it means, guys, remember this comment here about if we basically get above and stay above 785, absolutely brilliant. If we can't hold above 785, watch for the fall. Pre-market box reversal traders. All right, if you've waited for this signal, right, if we get the buyers pushing in anywhere near the R1, the pre-market box reversal on FTX short at 9.2, short at 9.2, target is 8.8, 8.8 or 8.7, 8.7, okay, 8.7. All right, so you guys at the moment, if we see some buying pushing in, guys, and the buyers get hammered, let me give you a Fibonacci, to think about. So we're going to delete that one. We know they're using the bigger fib. Okay, we'll do a defensive Fibonacci. Guys, the Fibonacci goes down to catch on the way up. We're looking at defensive fibs. We want to see the buyers push. Guys, there's nothing wrong with the buyers pushing. Okay, we did get a gap up on the FESX, so 4-point turning bar short, and then a gap up. So we are going to see buyers show on this candle. Guys, normally those buyers will run out of steam. Okay, so normally they will run out of steam. Right, so let's see what we've got. For the Nasdaq, we're waiting, guys, waiting for the Nasdaq to wake up. Now, at the moment, if you're looking at the Nasdaq saying, Lockie, what's gone wrong with it? The S&P 500, the sellers own the stair step. On the Nasdaq, the buyers own the stair step. So the Nasdaq and S&P are currently arguing with each other as to who's in charge. Now, the S&P is going to win that. So I'd suggest the first signal we're going to get for the Nasdaq traders will be a 4-point turning bar short. Okay, it'll be a 4-point turning bar short. We may get a swing trigger long. As we may get a swing trigger long, we would just need the Nasdaq and the S&P to agree with each other. At the moment, they don't. Lead-in volume, guys, I'm just checking lead-in volume is 34,000. So that means we're in for a low volatility, guys, low volatility technical day, right? Now, unlike last week, we had some days where the target indicator was 80 to 90 to 100. Today it's 24, right? So I say that, guys and girls, people that haven't traded with this before, we've always got to move, guys. Our target expectation, our time expectation, our risk expectation, everything is defined by the market. It's not defined by us. Okay, really, really important point. So higher high, guys, on the FTX. Okay, open gives a green light for the R1 reversal at 96. Please note, guys, please note that if you're going to take that reversal, I would really like to be picked up before the last 90 seconds of the candle. So we've basically got 16 seconds to get picked up on that trade, or we'll just wait for the new candle. And for those that are not aware, guys, if we get picked up on a trade in the last 90 seconds of the candle on the FTX, typically we run at about an 80% strike rate, 82%. If we get picked up, as we have done in the first 90 seconds, we run at 97% strike rate on FTX. Very, very different success rate. Obviously, that success rate is 100% driven at trading psychology. So I've taken one trade live today on multiple contracts. It's gone straight through its target. Suffice to say, my confidence, guys, my psychology around trading is quite strong because I do the same thing every day. It's very boring. Yeah, Daniel, you'll find that if you focus on the last 90 seconds, mate, again, you're not going to miss a great trade in the last 90 seconds. You're going to miss a crap trade in the last 90 seconds. So for the FTX, you've got a classic evil twins failure there. If we get a pushback under the R1, just like that, guys, we're looking to go short once this candle closes at 47. Yeah, we've got a second tier failure, guys, on FESX. So anything short, guys, anything short European-wise is looking very, very, I was going to use a word, I won't. It's looking really good. We've got guests today, guys. Can't use the word sexy, otherwise I'll get in trouble. FTX is looking really good. Now, we've got to wait for the candle to close. It's absolutely fundamental. Matt, I thought I'd say it once, mate. Again, I don't think people are easily offended. We're here to make money. We're here to make money, just money after money after money after money. And then we can do some education, guys. Then we do some education. The masterclass, guys, got good feedback on the masterclass last night. So FTX traders at this stage, Guys, at this stage, this is exactly what you're looking for. So you're looking for the buyers to push up, tag the R1. You want to be short at 96, guys. Your target is 92. Double check. 96, 91. Okay, so target is 96 to 91 for the junior traders. All right, so only a 5-point target. The reason being is your target indicator is saying to you, just be really careful, please. We've got no attitude. Okay, the market's got no attitude yet, as it's basically waiting. So the Americans are trying to work out what the Europeans are doing, and the Europeans don't know what they're doing just yet. So we're just kind of navigating, guys, between Fibonacci and pivots. Now, let me just have a look. So I do believe, guys, Nasdaq's probably going to come on track shortly. Don't be greedy, guys, on the FTX today, please. Don't be greedy. Everyone on the FTX knows what they're doing. If we've got guests in the room today, guys, got guests in the room, if you want me to explain what we're doing on the FTX, absolutely brilliant. We normally pick up 3 to 5 trades on the FTX. All right, guys, you're short at 96, target's 91. You're at 92 now. Come on, sweetheart. Go on, off you go, please. Sweetheart being a gender neutral term. So I can't get in trouble. Target 91, guys. So FTX traders short at 96, target 91. Kiss and touch at the moment. You'll probably get through that target. As you'll probably get through the target. Because we're on the wrong side of the pre-market box, guys, please don't take a pre-market box reversal. You're basically short under the R1. The higher high, Diane, I know I'm going to get the question. The higher high was created on the previous candle, setting the pretext for a short. So if you're short at 96, guys, your target is 91. Now, if you're using automated risk control, that may have triggered already. I do think, guys, the FTX is going to go significantly further to the downside. No, I do think. I do not more than 40, Daniel. Average the stop loss. Roy, I wouldn't do more than 40 ticks worth of risk on the Nasdaq because you don't need to. For the FTX, very rarely do we need more than 20 points at risk. Very, very rarely. Again, if the FTX is really cranky, really cranky, then we just basically let it have the temper tantrum, and then we come back to it. Because again, if you're trying to get on the right side of an angry market, it's going to really annoy you, and that can be a little bit of a problem. So for the DAX traders, guys, if you have gone short at 96, guys, your risk control triggers at 91. So worst case scenario, you triggered your risk control, guys, and that is basically either a slightly profitable trade or a scrub trade. These guys haven't worked out what they want to do yet. Guys, now, interesting point. If they hold above 785, guys, we may pick up buy signals everywhere. All right, so this is where we've got to watch for this little pocket. This little pocket efficient candle that we're about to get over here on the Nasdaq. So about 1 minute and 42 seconds to go, guys, until we get a Nasdaq trade. The flip side of the Nasdaq trade, we are looking for. I would prefer for them to buy up. So the advanced traders, guys, in the LTR today, you're looking for them to kiss, guys, the 76s. Or you're looking for the buyers to move up, tag the 133. You're going to go short underneath the 133 fib extension, guys. So exactly 2 ticks underneath that extension. So if you trade 133 fib extension failure, guys, you're looking for a short at exactly 50.75. You clearly need to get above that level in order to short below it if you're live trading, guys. And we would be looking then to have a risk control point of 10 ticks, guys. Your volatility is currently 23. So risk control point of 10, and I would suggest, guys, a 10 tick first target. I would then suggest a 50 tick second target. If this is the turn in the market, we're going to get the market moving a long way in our favor. Tim, how are you? I hope you're absolutely brilliant. For the DAXI traders at this point in time, you guys have got the lead today. There is no question about that. All right, so let me just move some of these around. I'm going to expand this chart out a bit. So for the DAX traders, guys, we are stuck at this sell point. Okay, so stuck at the sell point for the FESX. What does it mean if we get above the sell point? Guys, if we get above the sell point and we hold above the sell point in 12 seconds, then again, we're looking for longs on the FDAX. If we don't hold above this level, guys and girls, we're not touching the FDAX. So with 2 seconds to go, FESX, you're in charge, guys. It's gapped on to the pivot. We can't go long on the FTAX. We can only go short. Bob, do I take live trades? I mean, I was executing trades yesterday in the trading room. I do trade, mate. I do trade on a backup chart, right? So let me just show you this. All right, so mate, this is my live chart. Okay, this is the one I use for YouTube. Okay, so there's my execution there. So I basically sold off the pre-top. There's my entry, there's my exit. So that's actually my daily KPI done. Mind you, mate, I say that I did give everybody the exact entry price on that FTAX trade, and everybody that knows what they're doing has copied it. So I can execute trades on the screen if you want me to.
Look, I think you're missing an R1 on FESX. My R1's at 4929.
Thank you. So, mate, yeah, so the fact is I can execute the trades on the screen.
Other people are 4928, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So some people really like it, mate. Other people don't. Like I literally, I get people saying to me, Lockie, can you execute the screen? And I get some people love it. Other people like, no, stop. It's actually in my face. It's annoying me. So it's like there's two camps, mate. There's two camps. There's those people that like it, those people that hate it. So instead, mate, the vast majority, or the feedback we've got is, can you please tell me exactly how for me to make money? So, mate, I normally take 1 or 2 live trades a day. I'm very clear about what my KPIs are. So at the moment on FTAX, I'm actually almost at KPI already. So I'll pick up another trade and then I'll be well over KPI. Well, suggest we'll just see what happens. So, all right. So for the NASDAQ, guys, for the NASDAQ, we were looking for buys up to those key levels. We haven't got them. So there's other people around the world that are clearly thinking the same as us. Now, we are waiting for the S&P to wake up. At the moment, the S&P is effectively asleep, and it's not, and it's low volume, guys. We're into the hundreds on the NASDAQ. All right, so what does that ultimately mean? What does that ultimately mean? As if you are a NASDAQ trader, we're going to have to wait for the volume to start lifting before the market gets its normal mojo and attitude. That's what I was saying before about we let the market do the heavy lifting. All right, really, really important. Now, again, for the FTAX traders, if I may, guys, if we close back inside the R1 or we close back inside the pre-top, my prefer is to close back inside the pre-top. We're going to be setting up a new short at 792. Okay, so we will be setting up a new short at 792. And at this point in time, we're going to pick up probably a repeat as a very, very strong sell candle on FESX. Now, if we do get that, ladies and gents, any sell on the FTAX or any valid sell on the American markets is also going to be very, very good. So if this ends up being a very, very strong selling candle, guys, on the NASDAQ in 1 minute and 50 seconds, if it is a very strong sell candle and we get agreement from the S&P 500, okay, so that would mean the S&P closes under the pivot. We're looking to go short. For the S&P 500 traders, you're ideally going to be trading to your 76s, right? So your target zone for the S&P, you'll be short down to here. Okay, if we get agreement from the S&P. At the moment, they're trying to decide what they're doing. So Daxi, with 1 minute and 20 seconds to go, you're looking for a close. Again, if we get a close under the R1, guys, you'll be picking up the R1 reversal. So ideally, what do we want? We want to close under the R1. We don't want to gap onto the R1. We then want the bias to push into the market and fail. Right, so we want that failure to be at Fibonacci. I note, guys, the question from before, right? Again, 133, 141.fib. They are, guys, the FDAX's favorite Fibonacci's at this time of the day. Right, so Fibonacci, there's a lot of people out there in the world, guys, that are not massive fans of Fibonacci. I tend to find, guys and girls, if people don't use Fibonacci, it's because they don't know how to. I'm not being rude, but they literally don't know how to properly. So instead of using Fibonacci, they just poo-poo Fibonacci, when in actual fact, all we're doing is trading pure price movement. We're trading mathematics, and Fibonacci is mathematics. Okay, there's no question about that. Okay, we're getting ready for sells, guys, getting ready for sells. Now, the NASDAQ is going to give us, guys, the NASDAQ will give us an efficient CORPC bar. There is no question about that. FDAX at this stage, you're not doing anything. NASDAQ has just gone to extreme volume. Well, that's a very, very interesting thing for it to do. Right, so I need to dump a Fibonacci here before I call you into a trade. So let me just dump that larger fib. As I am seeing a tighter Fibonacci here. Okay, if we can, okay, that's better. All right, if we can, guys and girls, right, S&P 500. All right, let's start ruling out trades before we rule them in. So FDAX, guys, sorry, the S&P 500 is giving you a really lovely sell signal, guys. They're then gapped back up to the open, the gap, which means we can't go short. Okay, we can't go short. Louis plus 35 on NASDAQ, mate, well done. Okay, good little trade. You were short off the 133 extension, I trust. If so, that looks absolutely brilliant. For the Nazi traders, guys, your candle's actually blown its efficiency. You know, so I can't send you short, okay, because you've actually got no signal. Now, 1, 2, 3. So I can't send you short because you've got no signal and you're into the middle of the MDI. I can't send you long because the S&P closed under a gap. So so you traded the 141.4. Okay, perfect, mate. Perfect. That means your Fibonacci might be better than mine. So I'm just going to modify my Fibonacci extension. That's because if young Louis has got a better match, if you've got a better match, mate, then again, I will modify my Fibonacci to join you on that one. Okay, that might be. Okay, that looks to be a little bit tighter. All right. So where are we at, guys and girls? At the moment on FTX, we can't go long. Okay, we can't go long, and we also can't go short. So what we need for the FTX is we need a red candle to close underneath the R1. So we need the red candle to close underneath the R1. Then we're looking for an R1 base reversal. That's for those people that want a short, right? It's exactly 796. So for the opening candle traders, you had the opportunity for a 796, and then you had the opportunity for the actual pre-market box reversal. That's the one I took, okay, and that's the one that's gone quite well. Now, the NQ725 candle is not climactic. James, I'm running a newer set of indicators. So it's a good point. So climactic volume indicator has been modified. Guys, delta's been modified. Delta V2's been modified. So the whole reason we've done that is not only is the volatility of the market changed, but the current indicators, or the ones on my screen, guys, automatically adjust to the volatility and volume in the market. All right. Every other indicator I've written before this doesn't do that. What does it mean? All of the old indicators are effectively out of date, which is kind of exciting, guys, because all the Doro traders are going to get the new indicators on the weekend. So what does it mean, guys? My indicators may look a little bit different to you. That's only because we've fine-tuned the algo, so they're far more accurate. Okay, way more accurate. Okay, so come with me on the old. It depends, Ash, depends which algo you're running. So you could be on, there's 5 versions. There's 5 versions of indicator. Right? You could be on version 1 or 2. Or you could be on 4. I'm on 5. But again, everyone will be bought level playing field come this weekend. So I think it's really exciting. Now the market, guys, we're only 28 minutes into the session. Again, the market is starting to slow down a little bit. Okay, so we are starting to slow down. Interesting point, the FDAX is going alone, guys. The FDAX is going by itself. So the FESX does not agree with this buying. Now, if we did have agreement, just so everyone's aware, if we did have agreement, then I would be sending you long on those delta trades just there on the FDAX, all right, for those that trade the delta. All right, now, if you trade the delta, absolutely brilliant. If you don't, as we normally trade the delta on the FDAX in connection or in agreement with the FESX. At the moment, the FESX wants to go down, it wants to go up, it doesn't know what it's doing yet. All right, so we'll just wait for the FDAX to determine what it's going to do, guys. Then we might actually pick up some delta trades. Let's just see how we go. For those that aren't aware, the delta is just an automatic algorithm. It basically says, hey, there's institutional buying in the market at this point. So if you want to join them, then you need to buy at exactly this price. Okay, now we don't just push the button when the delta triggers. We've just got to make sure that we've got agreement with the other markets. And if so, we can run it well over 90% success rate. And that's obviously how we build a positive psychology around trading. Now, I'm just watching very closely, guys, to see what they're up to. Okay. S&P and NASDAQ, as I've got absolutely nothing for you at this stage. All right, let me just watch very, very closely because these guys are likely to sneak up on us at some point in time. All right, now the FDAX is obviously clearly and well above 785. Oh, so there will be some people. SBR long on NQ. All right, so let me have a quick look for you, man. So we do have an SBR, guys. There's no question about that. Now, the deal with the static bar reversal, got to be very, very careful about trading it back into the 50 fib of the micro trend. Right? So all we're going to do is draw the Fibonacci down in order to catch them on the way up. And there's the ambush, literally right there. Okay, so that would mean as effectively putting you into a trade with around about 20 ticks of risk, where we've got a 4 to 5 tick risk control point, which is just a little bit too tight for us. I'd suggest, guys, we're going to pick up a far nicer, far more lovely trade. When we've got alignment between the two American markets, that's we're going to pick up a lovely trade and it's going to run. It may be, as it may be on the turn of the hour. Right? So just be aware it might be on the turn of the hour. You would just watch them. Now, FDAX is famous for turning, guys, at either 35 or 45. So we're 31 minutes into the session at the moment. And they are getting ready to turn. All right. So if we stay up around these levels, guys and girls, if we stay up around these levels, guys, for around about 15 minutes or so, or in fact, exactly 13 minutes and 11 seconds, if we do stay up here, we are going to pick up a 5-minute chart trade in agreement with a 15-minute chart trade, and that is probably going to go very, very well. It's very, very well for the FDAX traders. If that does go well for the FDAX traders, as if it does, it's going to drag everybody kicking and screaming. So everybody will trigger at the same time. Now, for the S&P traders, to get any kind of direction on the S&P, we need to close ideally under the gap. So bottom left-hand corner, we need to close under the gap. We also want to not close a candle under the gap and then back onto the gap. This is actually one of the quietest sessions I've seen so far on the S&P for a little while. Now, that said, guys and girls, don't lose faith in the game of trading. If it's a very, very quiet day today, which we're currently getting a very quiet day, if it's a quiet day today, it's typically quite noisy tomorrow. Is that you, Code? Guys, I think Cody's trying to jump in and tell me something. Mandy, doesn't matter.
No, not me.
Okay, cool. Does it matter that it is in the trend? It does, Mandy. So that's a great question, Mandy, because I've got a concern about being in the middle of the trend indicator. That's normally where the markets get stuck. Now, the exception to that, Mandy, just so you know, is if the larger charts like the 15 or the 30 have got a ton of room. So if the 15 and the 30-minute chart have got a ton of room to their trend indicators, the 5-minute chart tends to just get melted away, which is what we may be seeing, at the moment. So for the 5-minute chart traders, 1 minute and 29 seconds away, okay, we are looking for a really, really lovely short. Now, it would look like, guys, if we have a look, all of the markets appear to be coming into agreement now. Okay, so we can get rid of this extension. Now, again, please do remember, guys, for the FDAX traders, if we close inside the R1, so if we close inside the R1, the buyers will show on the next candle. Yeah, here we go. All right, here we go. So they're waiting on the half an hour, as it may have actually been the 30-minute chart closes on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look for just looking. All right, so for the S&P 500 traders, your volatility, guys, is starting to increase. This volatility is starting to increase. I would suggest that is your Fibonacci. I would suggest that's your fib. For the NASDAQ, I would suggest your fib's a little bit closer. I'd suggest your fib is a little bit closer. 15-minute 4.20, right? All right. So FDAX traders, guys, if we close under the R1, or we gap under the R1, which we have, you're looking for an R1 base reversal. All right, now, for those that want to see me place a trade on the chart, for the FDAX traders, guys, we are looking to go short at 96. We must get above 96 in order to put the order. We must get above 96. Okay. So if you are an FDAX trader, there is an R1 reversal, guys, provided you can hold the risk behind the red candle. Right, you must be able to.
FESX into its pre-market box.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. NASDAQ traders, guys, that is the efficient CORPC bar. Guys, that's the efficient CORPC bar we're looking to trade off, same as S&P. This is one of the reasons why I don't normally put a trade on, because I get so focused on that, on getting that trade to the right spot, I miss the NASDAQ. All right, so NASDAQ traders, all right, you've got an efficient CORPC bar short, all right, you're waiting for the green team to show, guys, which they've done, and you're selling underneath the candle. Your backup trade is that delta there, guys, at 31.50. What you are aiming to do, guys, is you're aiming to take out a 10-tick first target. As S&P 500 today, your first target is around about 4 ticks would be brilliant. 3 ticks if you're a little bit nervous. For the NASI, guys, we're going short under the candle. Your first target is 10 ticks. Your second target is 50 ticks. FDAX, it looks like you've been picked up. Okay, FDAX, it looks like you've been picked up. So again, I've been picked up, guys. I wanted 90. What have I got there? I've got a split. That's fine. So I wanted an entry at 96. That means my target is at 91. Guys, again, I've got a split fill there. So my target looks like it's sitting at 92. I'm just going to let it sit there. NASI traders, guys, we're going short for 10-tick first target, please. S&P, your first target is 3 or 4. Guys, on the NASDAQ, you're going to be short, guys, 1 or 2 ticks underneath the candle, 31.75. If you're short at 31.75, guys, you're at your 10-tick target, just on your 10-tick target now. You've re-engaged this delta short, so the NASDAQ could try and go a little bit further. Guys, but please do recognize the volatility of the market is very, very low today. Okay, very, very, very low. So what does that mean, guys? If we take sort of repeated 10-tick, 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 guys, then we're looking relatively okay at this point in time. S&P 500 traders, you got your big efficient candle, which is awesome. You wanted a green team to show, and ideally, guys and girls, you've sold at 42.50. Guys, your long range target is 41.50 for the junior traders. It's already gone and touched that target. Okay, it's already gone and touched that target. FDAX at this stage, guys, again, time, what are we time-wise? We're well over the half an hour. So what it does mean for the FDAX, guys, is the trade will take up to 7 minutes to show us what they're thinking. All right, so ultimately that means that we should be in the right place in around about 4 minutes from now. All right, now at this stage, we've got 2 targets on. Guys, volatility says a 1 target of 5, guys, is far, far, far more likely to get paid and paid quickly. Okay, now I do want to make sure that that target is sitting just above the 50 fib of the day. Guys, so if they don't slam down, or if they kiss the 50 fib, we should be in a reasonable spot. All right, so FDAX traders, your time after 30 minutes, guys, your time in trade is normally around about 7 minutes. Okay, it's normally around about 7 minutes. So in 3 minutes from now, if the FDAX is not starting to threaten, guys, to the downside here, we'll start to manage risk and do what we normally do. Cody's on the money, guys. We've got the FESX. It basically gapped the market down. It looks like it's sort of toying around its pre-bottom. Now, again, that's a pre-market bottom. Typically speaking, what will occur is, again, they will get stuck at what we call the gap 76. So the FESX may try and get a little bit lower, guys. It may try and get a little bit lower. Remy, you got 11, 8, and 8 on the NASDAQ. All right, so this is where, guys, we're going to get a myriad of different results. The reason being is that some of you enter outside the range of the candle. If you've done that, it's already gone through your first target and risk control point. Some of you may be holding for a longer range target, and you may use a different sort of stop strategy to me. I would suggest As I would suggest at this point in time, 11 times 5 ATM long range as well. Okay, Greg, you got 20 times 12 on the S&P short. Well done. At this stage, guys, so DAX has got around about 2 minutes. So again, under that 7-minute trade expectation, it's got around about 2 minutes to show us what it's thinking. So around about 2 minutes to show us what it's thinking. And then we will assess accordingly. What have I got? So for the Nazi traders, depending on the risk control point that you use, if you use a 10-tick risk control point, basically the market from our entry was 31.75. It's gone down to 29. So basically it has gone 4, 8, 11. It's gone 11 ticks towards a 10-tick risk control point. So 11 ticks towards a 10-tick risk control point. What does that ultimately mean? That means that it may have triggered your risk control. Some of you use longer range risk control points. So I'm going to have to watch that FDAX fairly closely. Some of you do use longer range risk control points. So again, we're now watching, again, for probably that 12 to 15 minute mark, guys, to see what these guys do. Just hold on 1 second. Okay, just checking what Akito's up to, guys, in the background. So at this stage, guys, again, we'll assess the FDAX trade in around about 30 seconds from now. Again, what's occurred, guys, is the buyers have bought up. They've hit the 50 fib of the very, very large candle. Again, that is normally where the buyers on FDAX may fail. Okay, may fail. I'm watching the FESX at this point in time. The buyers have also come in relatively early in the candle and they got hit pretty hard. So at this stage, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the sellers as opposed to the buyers. Greg, you got 10 times 10 on oil short. Well done. Now, I'm going to assume at this point in time, ladies and gents, I've still got traders short on the NASDAQ. Okay, I believe I've still got traders short on the NASDAQ if you don't use a 10-tick risk control point. So what we'll do is we'll assess, guys, in 2 minutes and 40 seconds what the market is telling us, and we'll start to look for effectively a risk control point on the NASDAQ. Guys, we'll look for the potential of a risk reduction, just depending on what the S&P 500 does. We can't go long on the S&P because it's straight into the pivot. Guys, I'm hoping that we head short. Roy, your stop loss on NASDAQ. So your stop loss on NASDAQ, you should be up above the red candle. So up above the red candle as a minimum stop loss. Your first target and your risk control point is 10 ticks, which means that the moment the market moves 10 ticks in your favor, it takes out your first target and brings your risk to positive. Okay, so that's what it should be doing. That's what it should be doing. Now, FDAX at this point in time, guys, again, the trade has gone over the normal time expectation. And that's okay. That's not a big problem for us at the moment. Again, my stop loss is in the right spot. My target expectation is correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let that FDAX trade do what it needs to do. Roy, just to quantify, mate, a risk control point on the NASDAQ is not your stop loss. So your stop loss would be sitting around about the -40 mark. Your first target is 10. Your second target is 50. And your automated risk control is normally touch 10, pay something, or it might be touch 10, I'm going to start to move my risk down and start to honor the candlesticks. Okay, so just be aware of that one. Okay. So at this stage, guys and girls, we've got a number of traders that are short on the S&P 500. Okay, now I'm just going to go and grab a target indicator on the S&P. As I stripped, there it is right there. Okay, am I sitting off the side of the chart? Okay, what we're going to do, guys and girls, with the S&P, for those of you who have gone short, guys, at 42.50, some of you have gone short at 42.50 outside the range of that large selling candle. If you have done that, guys, then again, the long range target is 41.50 because your volatility is so tight. As for the junior traders, you've gone for 3 ticks, which is only 41.75. Okay, now, At this stage, as for the FDAX, we're almost 45 minutes into the session. So we're almost 45 minutes into the session. At this stage, that means no new trades, guys, no new trades on the European markets. All it means is we start to look at the larger charts to see what they may be thinking. Now, the 15-minute FDAX chart has just loaded a short, right? It's just loaded a short. The 30-minute chart is not far off loading a similar short as well. So what that means is I'm literally just going to sit with my short trade. Mathematically, the short trade is correct. I can't go long. I'm not allowed to go long. Okay, now, if you are short on the NASDAQ, guys and girls, outside the range of the candle and you don't have an automated risk control, may I suggest that if we start to get down towards this level here, okay, that level there, okay, which is the previous weekly open. So if we can't push well below that previous weekly open and start to get down to these 76s, then my first target, guys and girls, on the NASDAQ would be 10 ticks. We've gone well beyond a 10-tick target. Okay, well beyond a 10-tick target. If you are going for long-range targets, guys, please use a Fibonacci extension. As I do suggest, based on the weight of the selling, I do think we're probably going down further. It might take a little bit of work to get there. I'd suggest they're running into Fibonacci's. All right, so how I'd pull the NASDAQ apart today, guys, volatility is under 30. Right, so that means we're looking for a 10-tick first target and risk control point. And then we're looking for 50s if we can get 50s. The enemy to the 50s today, as the enemy will be that 133 fib extension there. Yes, mate, it is. Ash, 100% correct. Hence the reason we've used a short range first target, because if we get inside the previous weekly open, so if we get inside that, okay, then what we're going to find is a cascade of selling, right? So see this selling over here, right? So that's selling there. If we get and hold below that level, then all of these sellers are going to re-engage the market and try and sell them back down again, which is what they've done earlier today. Now, the flip side of that, guys, if Europe does decide it wants to sell, we've got effectively a gap down on the FDAX at the start of this candle. That normally means we end up with a selling result on this candle in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It'll either be a selling result or a weak buying result. So for the FDAX traders, guys, here we go. All right, so NASDAQ is waking up. Okay, so for the FDAX traders, all right, we're still with our short. If you are in the same short as me, if you do trade the same as I do. Okay, now the flip side of that, NASDAQ, you guys have broken. So the time expectation, guys, on the NASDAQ was 12 to 15 minutes for us to know what these guys are thinking. If you are still short on the NASDAQ, we do want them to push through and get well below these 76 fibs. Right? So if they get caught on these 76 fibs, that's actually enough to hold the NASDAQ trader, the sellers. It's actually enough to hold the sellers in place. So what does it mean, guys? We've got no new trades. So we've got no new trades for the beginner traders. For the senior traders who are trying to hold the NASDAQ short for a 50-tick target, your 50s are 10, 20, 30, 40. Your 50s are down here. So it means that we do need to move through that 76 fib. We also need to move through the 90% fib relatively quickly because we are working against Fibonacci. So the most obvious Fibonacci for this one is this, literally the ABC prior to the stair step, which is just there. So the ABC prior to the stair step, these guys will normally sell down to the 133 fib extension, guys, which is combined with that 76 fib there. Seem to have gotten slippage on my target order. NQ got bonus. Okay, well done, Ash. That's always good. So, guys, the NASDAQ will normally sell down to the 133 fib extension of the most recent ABC pattern. So they've literally just sold down to exactly where the NASDAQ traders would expect them to go. And that's combined with these 76 fibs, which is where they normally sell to. So what does that ultimately mean? Is if you're an advanced trader and you are already out of your short because you're using a 10-tick risk control point, some of you may have gone long off those 76s and the 133 going back the other way. Louis, you've got 18 on NQ. Well done. So guys, if you do reverse off the 133 fib extension and the 76s, right across the chart there, it's enough to hold up the entire NASDAQ. Right now, if you look for a double failure reversal, as we're looking for the sellers to sell back down, get above those 76 fibs, and then we're looking for a long. Now, again, we've got this previous weekly open that is mucking around with the NASDAQ. All right, so ultimately, what does it mean? Guys, if you went short underneath the efficient candle, it's gone through its 10-tick target, guys. Depending on your ATM, it's probably triggered your risk control. It's not a very glamorous trade, but it has gone to a degree of profit or something along those lines. Now, my little FDAX trade is not tracking how I would normally track. It's not tracking how it would normally track. That said, at this point in time, I've got no proof that the buyers are really that strong. So a good note, good lesson for everybody. The trade has gone way over the normal time expectation. Okay, it's gone way over it. First couple of trades on the FTX were absolutely brilliant, guys. They're the ones I picked up in the background. This one here is not going where I would expect it to go. So I'm going to have to look at my risk control. So again, 822, so 4 ticks. All right, so the stop loss is in about the right spot. Now, normally I don't need my stop loss on FTX. At this point in time, if the buyers do decide to buy FESX, if they do buy the FESX, then my stop loss is in trouble. That's just the mathematics of trading. So we'll just let that bop along, guys. There's nothing I can really do about the trade. I'm not going to bring my stop loss down again, because we've proven what we do. If it is a negative trade, guys, it's a negative trade. But I'm not worried about that. Now, S&P, you've had again one trade today that is relatively good. That's gone where it needs to go. The flip side of that, NASDAQ, depending on how you trade, as you picked up one trade to the downside that was really, really obvious. It's only triggered risk control points. For the slightly more advanced traders, you might have had a second trade. Now, what does that ultimately mean? What does that ultimately mean? I would suggest we're waiting for the turn of the hour. So it would be great if you place your trades on NQ. Yes, Roy. Yeah, can't do it, Roy. Mate, it's hard enough placing trades on the FDAX, let alone on the NASDAQ as well. Now, Roy, can I put it out there to the world though, mate? There's just as many people that want the orders on as the people that say, please don't put the orders on because I find them distracting. So as much as it's again, mate, the best thing I can do for you, mate, is draw a line on the chart, okay, which I've been doing for 15 years, draw on the line on the chart and say your sell order is here, okay? But then, mind you, everyone that is trading in this live trading room knows that if they get a short on the NASDAQ, their order goes 2 ticks underneath the candle. Everybody knows that, okay? Everyone knows that, okay? So again, I'll do my best, mate. I'll do my best. There's obviously a lot going on in the background here with charts and similar things. So I'll do my best, mate, to guide you as I can. Just hold on one tick, guys. I'm going to sip some water. You probably don't want to listen to that in surround sound. So hold on one tick. All right, so as we're well into the last 15 minutes, so if there are any questions at all, about what is going on in the markets, now's a good time to get them answered. Andrew, all good? I hope it's gone okay. Yeah, the best thing, mate, again, if you're a NASDAQ trader, right, the best thing to do is increase the size of the Zoom screen so you can only see the NASDAQ, which you can do. There's a Zoom button on the top left-hand corner. Or if I was a NASDAQ trader, I would always be watching the agreement between the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. And again, if I got a like signal on the S&P and a like signal on the NASDAQ, then I would be jumping all over those agreed signals, those signals that agree with each other. Now, for the FDAX traders, guys, so no new trades inside the last 15 minutes because we don't do that. Your next trade, at this stage, my short trade is not going very well. However, guys, at this point in time, they've basically bought against my short trade for around about 20 minutes. Mathematically, if the market is going to turn, they're probably going to sell. They're probably going to sell the market for 20 minutes. I don't think that's going to happen, guys. No, I think I'm going to have a negative trade here. That's okay. We get negative trades. So the flip side of that, guys, the next signal on the FTAX is going to be a reversal off the R2. That is highly likely, right? Highly likely where they're going to get to. If the FESX can climb, it looks like they are going to climb here. As in fact, everybody is climbing. So therefore, as I would suggest again for the FTAX traders, that again, your next trade will be off the R2 at this point in time. Or if we get back inside the R1, it's going to be inside the R1. Now you can see the market starting to flickering, guys. They're starting to get a little bit angry because we're basically coming into the hourly close, and no one has effectively achieved anything. Exactly right, Ash. Now that, ladies and gents, on the Nasdaq, that is a 4-point turning bar long on the Nasdaq and also on the S&P 500 at the same time. All right, so they are one of the most powerful reversal signals that you can get in the market. Now, not only has it got a very, very strong strength rating, but the fact is that it's a very strong sign the market is going to reverse to the high side. Now, some of you guys may be long on the 4-point turning bar. I didn't give you the entry point, but some of you who are well trained may be long on that 4-point turning bar. If you are long on the 4-point turning bar, then obviously that's going very well, very quickly. But it is the last 5 minutes of the hour. This is typically where the market resets for the new hour. Okay, so my trade on FTX, guys, is probably going to be a negative. Again, very, 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 very likely it's going to be a negative. If so, we just basically come back and grab it from somewhere else again. Now, when I draw my little Fibonacci down here, guys, I draw my little Fibonacci down, guys, in order to catch them on the way up. The buyers now own the stair step. The buyers now own the stair step on the FTAX, which means, sorry, the Nasdaq, which means we're looking to sell. As we're looking to sell the market. The flip side of looking to sell the market is that we are again in the last throes of the first hour of trading. So effectively, to sell the market down, as what we need to wait for the new hour. So wait for literally 2 minutes and 25 seconds or so. We're looking for new signals inside the new hour. At this stage, the Nasdaq. Again, guys, I don't want to sell the Nasdaq short. I don't want to sell the Nasdaq short if it's stuck over the top of these pivots. Okay, so let's just see what these guys have got. Let's just see what they've got. Okay, now we are setting up, guys. We are setting up for those that trade off Fibonacci's off reversals. We are clearly setting up reversals. The flip side of that, I don't really want you to enter on this candle, as it is the last candle of the hour. This is where people make mistakes and the market sort of eats them up. Okay, so literally where they make mistakes. On my 15-minute S&P chart, I've basically got on my 15-minute chart, I've effectively got what could be, as I just have a look at the volume. We may be picking up a 4-point turning bar long, as we may be picking up a 4-point turning bar long on the S&P 15-minute chart. If we do, then effectively any buying signal to the high side, guys, is looking absolutely brilliant. Flip side, guys, if we get a selling delta on this candle, see these buying deltas coming through. If we were to get a selling delta, that means the market has decided they're actually going to sell into the new hour. Okay, so the market is probably going to sell into the new hour. Now, interesting point about selling into the new hour. I would love to pick up, guys, a really, really brilliant Nasdaq trade. At this stage, we've just got to let the market generate the signal for us. Now, my little FTAX is trying to hold on because it's not going to hold on, as I would suggest. The stop loss is in the right spot, target's in the right spot. That's a trade that we take every single day. We normally run at a very high strike rate. That one's going to be a negative trade, so I'll put it in the book as a negative. Flip side of that, we are 10 seconds away from the close of the hour. So please do watch very, very carefully, guys. The markets will get a little bit jumpy. All right, so here's the jumpy bit coming. Volume, Mandy, what we're doing is we're measuring the volume that's used on a particular candle. So what's just occurred then is we've got an extreme volume warning. Basically, the buyers on NASDAQ are using way too much volume to push the market up, right? They're using way too much volume. As a result of using that, then the buyers are going to create doubt in the market. They can hold us up here. Diane, the FTX, again, I've picked up the opening candle trade, which was absolutely brilliant. So that's on my big funded account. I've picked that up and that's gone beautifully. FTX over the last couple of weeks has lost its personality, but mind you, we've got no European news today. So tomorrow we do have European news. Friday we do have European news. It'll probably be more fun. The flip side of that, Diane, is a reference point, if I can. The lead-in volume today was only 30,000. So normally when the FTX gets a really serious wriggle on, then the lead-in volume is going to be sort of 40 to 45,000. So the volume's a little bit low at the moment. Everybody's basically trying to work out who's going to win the US election. There'll be a lot of different opinions on that. And suffice to say, there's a lot of commentators saying we're going back to record highs before we crash again. Now, the monthly close, which is coming on the FESX, would suggest we are going for record highs right across the board. Okay, right across the board, we're going to go for record highs. So what we can do, Diane, again, the US pre-market, I can show you the US pre-market session last night. It was absolutely incredible trading, Diane. So as much as we get together as a group to trade the European Open, which is normally very, very reliable, the US pre-market is equally, if not more reliable. That's because the US pre-market volume comes in. Last night, the pre-market was incredible to trade. It was just, yeah, brilliant. So, and that's the key. We get some people say, oh, it's too late, it's too early, it's too this, too that. Rotate. What's the next one called? Senna, great question. So the next contract will be the December 24 contract. It'll be the December 24 contract. All right, so guys, inside the new hour, so FTX traders, we're looking for a new trade. We're looking for a brand new trade. If we get a 4-point turning bar here, guys, which is highly likely, if we do get a 4-point turning bar, we're looking for a touch of green, a little bit of red, and we're going to try and run them back down, guys, to the counter Fibonacci. So we'll see what they do in a second. We're waiting for that signal. So we're waiting for that signal to close. S&P stuck between pivots. So at this point in time, we can't do anything on the S&P for the for the NASDAQ, guys, but again, we're waiting for the market to break out. Jeff, all good. Yeah, so mate, the center, the next contract on NASDAQ is the 12 of 24. It'll be the 12 of 24 contract. Now I'm just get my little chart trader hiding here. Now, Fibonacci for the FTX traders. So we're inside the new hour. Guys, we're looking for a 4-point turning bar short. Okay, we're looking for a 4-point turning bar short.
There is an extension.
Say again?
There is an extension, NQ 15-minute chart starts from 2 p.m. Sydney time. Let's change the ABC long.
Yep.
They honored the.
Absolutely. That's the one. That's actually the one we had on before. That's the one we had on before. That's the 133 that Louis picked his short off. Absolutely correct. So guys and girls, if we do get, so for the NASDAQ traders, if we do get above the 133 extension, so if we do get above the 133 extension, and that's what you normally trade, that's what you normally trade, you're looking for a short 2 ticks underneath. All right, so 2 ticks underneath that 133 fib extension, guys, which is hiding here. It corresponds to this 90% Fibonacci as well. So that's what you're ultimately looking for. For the FTX traders, you're looking for a 4-point turning bar short. At this point in time, you are very, very likely to get one. It's very, very likely to get one. Now, again, let's just watch it count down. It's got to tick all the boxes. It's got to tick all the boxes. Now, for the FDAX, guys, just watch the FDAX here. They can't do that. Otherwise, there's no short. And for the FDAX, there is no short. Okay. For NASDAQ traders, as for the NASDAQ traders, if you sell underneath the 90% fib retracement or the 133 extension, you want the buyers to push up, touch the level, and then you're going short 2 ticks underneath that level. Right, so again, what that means for the NASDAQ traders is once we buy above the level of 51.25, above the level of 51.25, then you're looking for an entry short at 51.25. Okay, now you see they've just gone and touched the 90%. Now, promise me, ladies and gents, please, if you're going to trade the NASDAQ short, if you are short at 51.25, your risk control point is 10 ticks. All right, so that's 49.25, it's 48.75. Okay, so your risk control point, guys, is right here. Now, highly likely, we're very, very early in the new hour. Highly likely they will smack that hard and fast. Now, depending on how you pull the market apart, ladies and gents, if you're a 133 fib or 90% fib retracement trader, as you're looking for the buyers to push the market up and fail, you're then looking for the sellers to ultimately see that failure. You want to sell the market down. You want your first target at 10 ticks, which you've just been paid. Right? So you're at your 10 tick mark. So what I would now do is bring my stop loss in on my longer range target so I can't lose money on the trade. As you may look for a 10 tick target and a 20 tick target because the volatility is only 35, or you might look for 10s, 20s, and 50s. As understanding, please, on the NASDAQ, no one's got any risk on this trade, please. No one's got any risk now. It is all money for jam. Now, guys and girls, was I clear enough with the entry point of 51.25? Okay, I hope I was. What we're looking for is we're looking for the buyers to push up, kiss the 133 extension. You've got a beautiful agreement between the Fibonacci's here. You've sold the market short at 51.25, and that's gone at least 20 ticks. Okay, you've gone 11 times 5. KPI done for the day. Well done. That's all right. Perfect. Good. Can you please explain a better spot when the candle is burning volume? Oh, Ash, burning volume means that, I'll show you an example, but burning volume means this selling candle, for example, just sits here, does absolutely nothing, and the volume starts climbing up towards the previous candle. So what we don't want is the sellers, for example, those that are going for long range targets. What we don't want is the sellers sitting there and not going anywhere, and this volume just starts burning. They're literally like sitting there burning rubber, like burning rubber on the car. Like they're literally just burning their tires, going absolutely nowhere. So at this stage, guys, we're short around about 51.25 or within the general vicinity of that, depending on if you short off the 133 or the 90%. Either way, some of you are going for 10s, 20s, and 50s. Others are going for 10s and 50s. On your 50 tick target, you have absolutely no risk on the trade now. So even if you had your stop at -1, as your target's at 50, your risk to reward ratio is 50 times in your favor now. Alan, beautiful trade, 10 and 25, great trade. 15-minute SBR reload, you are spot on the mark. Who was that? Alan, well done, mate. Well done. Ahmed, it is a 15-minute reload. You are correct. Right, so I see everybody, guys, everybody seems to be working in unison. If FDAX was to close that candle, guys, in 1 minute and 12 seconds, it's a static bar reversal short. So I'm looking for a touch of green and then a short. I want to sell at 815, first target 810. Second target for the FDAX traders will be the 50 of the day. Don't you run without us, you shitty little thing. Don't you run without us. Okay. So guys, Akito's short on this one as well. Boom. So she's going for a 50 tick target on this one. That 50 tick target will be paid. Oh, okay. All right. So Akito, guys, is out on that trade at 10, 20, 50 with 2 contracts at 50. Suffice to say, I think I have got my dinner paid for now. So not being a smart ass, but she's literally sitting here trading with me right now. So she's gone short on the Nasdaq, guys, for 10, 20, and 50. 2 contracts on 50, 1 on 10, 1 on 20. It's $615 US trade. Right? So she has killed it. She's over her daily KPI. Well done, babe. Good job. You want to say hello to everybody or not really? No, she doesn't want to say hello to anybody. She's taking the trade, guys. Classic turn of the hour. Linda, 11 and 41. Beautiful trade. Right, so Nasdaq traders, we've had to wait a long time today to pick up a textbook trade, and we've just picked it up and it's belted its long range targets. So what I'm excited about for you guys is we picked up basically a false start sell over here that basically sold down, hit our first target. That one there, guys, as I said at the start of the session, we're going for 10s and 50s. The moment it moves 10 ticks in our favor, we're then going to control our risk so we can't lose money. We're then going to let the market run in our favor, and it's done exactly what it's required to do and paid a big target. All right. So, guys, did anyone else get 10? Anyone? Oh, Lou, did anyone get 10, 20, 50 on that? I know Akito's got that. That is live, guys. So it is live on 4 contracts. Did anybody else get that 10, 20, 50, or is it just a combination of 10s and 20s or 10s and 40s? 11 and 41, Linda. It's a beautiful trade. Well done. It's absolutely brilliant. Now, for a new entry on Nasdaq, guys, at this point in time, that looks a lot like a 76 fib failure. Louis, of course. the legends are still short. All right, so let me put that. That'll go, guys. That'll go in our screenshot register, like everything is that we do. Ahmed, guys, Ahmed, massive well done, guys. Ahmed was the one that reminded me of this 133 fib extension, guys. That is the magic Nasdaq number. It was right there, magic Nasdaq number. And if you guys, if you want to quantify whether it's actually an important number or not, the entire Nasdaq just turned off that number. So if you needed any quantification that was actually good, well, there it is. 10, 20, 50. Would you let the 10 go to profit? But would you put touch 16 pay 10? Yes, Mark, that's exactly what Akito's ATM is. So again, mate, like this one down here, if she went short, it would have triggered her first ATM. And then when they came back down, we give the trade 15 minutes, which is that candle there, to tell us what they're thinking. That's what I said on this trade here. If you guys are not out of this trade already, if it doesn't break below the level, please bring your stop the positive on your long range targets. It's not going to run. And as it turns out, it turned and went back the other way. Not surprised. So, guys, Louis is still short on this one. S&P 500 traders. I've got nothing for you just yet. Little FDAC, guys, little FDAC. I do want the buyers to push back up, guys, and give us a tiny candle. If we do get a tiny candle like this one here, guys, it will be a static bar reversal short for the FDAX traders. Despite that negative, guys, on FDAX, I'm actually still quite positive. So that I suppose that's a bonus. Now, for those of you who are short for longer range targets, guys, just be aware that we may end up with a static bar reversal long against us. So what is screwing the Nasdaq around today, guys, it's a very technical trading term, is last week's weekly open. They just can't get below it. This is what's causing all the trouble, previous weekly open. So there's a lot of traders, guys and girls, in my reading of the market, there's a lot of traders here that are trying to buy off the previous weekly open and run the market back to record highs. Louis, you got out at plus 92. That is a stunning trade. Well done. Well done. Let's clean this up. Let's clean this up. We spoke about that one. We know about that one. We can get rid of that one. So that goes that short, guys, that short was not only obviously with the 90%, but also off the 133%. Okay, now for those of you that have done some work with me, you know how important these numbers are. It's very, very, very important numbers. If you needed any proof that the numbers are important, just check out where the market turns. Okay, absolutely brilliant. Now, FDAX, guys, if we do get a higher high, so what's the volume like? Volume is still okay. If we do get a higher high, guys, if we do get a higher high on the FDAX, we may be looking for a second tier reversal, but at this point in time, they are not doing anything, guys. They're just literally falling asleep. All right, so we'll see how they go. Now, NASDAQ, we've got 35 seconds to go on the candle. As double check. As the buyers own the stair step on NASDAQ. So the buyers own the stair step. What does that mean is we can't actually sell. Sorry, the buyers own the stair step. So we actually can't buy here. If we get a static bar reversal long, goes over the open and the previous pivot. So if we do close over these pivots, it looks like a static bar reversal long, but it's not, because the SBRs are traded against the step of the market. At this point in time, we are trying to buy with the step, and I'm not surprised no one else wanted to buy either. Do I have anybody like Andy? Is Andy still short, guys, on, is anyone still short on the NASDAQ, guys, because you trade the turn of the hour? Okay, absolutely famous for these guys to turn on the hour and run away. Louis out at 92. I think that's probably the end of us. I don't think we've got anybody else. I don't think we've got anybody else short. So literally, no good. Okay, Roy's out. Well done, mate. That's brilliant. So I think at this stage, guys, we'll just wait for the next signal to set up. We are 15 minutes into the second hour. So if we see the volume as on FDAX, if that starts climbing well below 300, so at the moment it's just on the edge. But normally when the FDAX goes below 300, guys, the mojo of this session just disappears right across the board. So no one basically picks up a trade regardless of what you do. The volume will come back, guys. So 5:30 p.m. The volume came back last night at 7 p.m. Now, speaking of that, guys, I did say to you guys that the trading last night was exceptional. Do you guys mind if I show you? If you mind if I show you the trading last night, guys, from 7 p.m. was insane. All right, so let me just show you. Just so you realize. Okay. All right, so from 7 p.m., which is when I normally come back and start trading again, guys, which is literally right here. Okay, so turn of the hour. So we picked up this beautiful reversal short, guys. We picked up this huge efficient bar short. It ran down. We expected it, guys. We expected it to turn on the hour. So there were quite a few traders, guys and girls, that were short when the market turned. Then they went long on that -3 rated static bar reversal, having run the trade for about 220 ticks in their favor. Guys, they then ran this up and they turned it at 9 o'clock. Okay, turned it on 9 o'clock just here, guys, and send it short again. All right, so that's what the trading looked like last night. Beautiful shorts, ran down, incredible algorithmically perfect long, ran up, picked up the short and just ran it back the other way, as it was amazing. So Diane, the reason I'm showing that is that if the European Open is quiet, so at 7 p.m. Tokyo time, they normally come back and that's when they start to play. And that's exactly what they did. So when they came back from European lunch yesterday, that's when they actually wanted to play, which is kind of a little bit annoying, guys, because if we trade the European Open and they don't want to play, then we end up picking up 1 or 2 trades. Flip side, guys, they were playing hard last night from 7 p.m., which was really quite brilliant. So flip side being, I ran that masterclass for you last night. We saw all of that unfolding, guys, as I ran the masterclass. And then later on, it was incredible to trade. It runs for 90 minutes. We'll over. Yeah, 100%. So guys, normally the market runs out of steam shortly. So it normally runs for about 90 minutes, which is what we normally witness. Oh, so guys, if you want a compass, it's a great question. The market normally runs for 90 minutes and it rests for 90 minutes. Then they come back after European lunch and it goes absolutely nuts at 7 p.m. Tokyo time. Reaching KPI here, should I do pre-US? Daniel, that's what I do, mate. That's what I do. So at the moment, mate, I'm sitting at 5 points. I'm sitting at 5 points on the FDAX positive, which is my lower KPI. So I will come back tonight at 7 p.m. Tokyo time. And I'll take 2 or 3 more trades to get me way over my daily KPI, and then I'll be done. So if you do, mate, if you do want to do that, the best way to do that is to wait for the turn of the hour and target a static bar reversal or a 4-point turning bar with stunning ratios. Trade that for as much profit as you possibly can, then come back for the next turn of the hour. And if you get a 15-minute chart agreement, then mate, nail it. Like if you get that 15-minute chart agreement, try and hold the reversal for 45. Well done, Ken. So guys, Ken's gone long. So this is actually quite a popular trade. Ken has gone long off the 76s down here. Okay, so he's waited for these sellers to sell down and clearly fail. And then he's gone long off the 76s, which these guys are famous for failing at, turned around and gone back the other way. So Ken, is that a 10 and 40? Wow, that's brilliant. That's a 10 and 40. That's an awesome trade. Akito has run away, guys. So she takes 1 trade per day, right? So that's classic ATM, right? So you can use exactly the same ATM as she does if you want. She goes for a 10 tick target on 1 contract, 20 ticks on a 1 contract, and then she goes for 50 ticks on 2 contracts. So if she gets a big move, guys, if she gets a big move, it's worth $615 US, right, for that particular trade. The daily KPI is 200 US. So for her to pick up a 615, she's pretty happy with that, but also it puts her 3 times her daily KPI. Daniel, it's all good. It's all good. So guys and girls, we've got 10 minutes to go. Are there any questions at all? Are there any questions at all about anything that we've done today? Now, it's been a very, very quiet day. It was a very, very quiet day. The flip side of the quiet is that, again, I am expecting tomorrow to be a little bit noisier, guys, with some European news hanging around. I'm expecting Friday to be a lot faster than today. Diane, what did the FDAX look like after 7 p.m.? It basically mirrored the American markets. Okay, so it mirrored the American markets. I'll show you. All right, let me show you just here. Okay, so 7 p.m. So 7 p.m. our time. So we're looking for a turn in the market at 7 p.m. So again, the Nasdaq had already sold down, or as the FDAX was basically saying, yeah, I'm going to sell down, sell down, sell down. That's a static bar reversal long shortly after 7 p.m. So shortly after 7 p.m., we can't take it. Had to wait for these guys to close the 4-point turning bar long, which is just there. Right, so that 4-point turning bar long has resulted in this move here. Okay, so big move to the high side. 10, 20, 50 contract ATM center. Yes, I can. I've got one loaded on the Nasdaq. So last night, Diane, to answer your question. So again, if you focused on the hourly turns, so effectively we finished trading last night with this little trade here. So there's our short. We went short from the pink to the blue. Okay, that was our last trade. These guys ran up, they reversed at 1800, and then they basically sold all the way down to well over 1900. And then they basically, the key with the FDAX, if I can, Diane, is normally the US markets start to take control, right? So normally the markets start to take control. The American markets start to take control of the Europeans shortly after 7 p.m. Greg, you are correct, absolutely. Do you use your 5-minute bar in the US sessions? 100%. Yes, I do, Roy. So I've got an S&P 500 trading plan made for the US Open, which is basically wait 15 minutes, and then take the first SBR or the first efficient CORPC bar with step and trend. This is what I did last night. Okay, so it's going to be very, very obvious, mate, where my trades are. Very, very, very obvious. So there's the opening candle. Right, there's the opening candle right there. Now, Roy, this trading plan was written in 2009. Okay, so it's old. There's the opening candle. There's the static bar reversal long. So wait 15 minutes, take the first static bar reversal long. I couldn't take that because it was into a pivot. So I couldn't wait for them to close over the pivot, which is that candle there, and go long. That's what everyone else was waiting on. Okay, so last night, guys, so I haven't looked at this, which is awesome. Wait 15 minutes, take the first static bar reversal long or the first efficient CORPC bar with step and trend. And if you get any complementary deltas, like all of these deltas up here, they're all valid. They're all valid, which is obviously very, very powerful turn in the market. Now, Diane, yeah, so Diane, after 7 p.m., for me personally, so 7 p.m. Tokyo time, if I need another trade, I will switch to the Nasdaq. I double my contract loading because I can, and I'm looking for exactly what Akito's ATM is. So guys, Akito's ATM, I'll write it on the screen for you down here. So she's got a 10 tick target. She's got a 20 tick target. and she's got a 50 tick target. Okay, now that being said, she's got, I'll write it for you. She's got one contract, guys, one contract at 10, one contract at 20, and she's got two contracts at 50. Okay, so that's her contract breakup is for, I want to make more money out of my trade and I'm going to skew the market in my favor. Her ATM, guys, on her first target is touch 8, pay 5. Second target is touch 16, pay 10. And the third target, she doesn't have an ATM at all. She just lets it run in her favor. All right, now if she gets into trouble, I tell her what to do with the stock. Roy, we did run a US Open live trading room for a month, and it was incredibly, incredibly successful. Like really, really brilliant. But at this point in time, we don't run it, right? Because we don't ultimately, I think if we go back to the US, if we go back to the US Open, it will be once we've got, you know, sort of 40 or 50 traders that want the session as opposed to 20. Yeah. So Naveen, I would love to do a US Open, mate. It's just got to be done properly, and there's just got to be enough people for it. I mean, in this session today, guys, we've hit more than 80 traders in this session. So again, if we can build this session up to around about 100 traders, we might be in a position then to say, righto, let's do a US Open. The goal is, because just everyone's aware, the goal is to get the session to 100 traders. The goal is then to get everybody who wants to be funded at sort of between the 100 grand and $250,000 mark. Right? So we want everybody that wants to be funded to be funded. And ideally what I want is most traders in the live trading room who are funded to be making between sort of $500 and $1,000 a day. That's what we're after. So if you can make $500 to $1,000 per day, guys, and at least 50 people doing that, then we've got a trading room that is probably better than any other trading room in the world. What is Akito's second target? 20 ticks. 20 ticks, Diane. Her ATM has touched 16, pay 10 on the NASDAQ. So the moment it gets anywhere near 20 ticks, she locks in her so her ATM, Diane, is touch 8, pay 5 on the first. Her ATM on the second is touch 16, pay 10, and she has no automated ATM on the long range target. Once it gets to around about 20, 22, 23 ticks worth of profit, she just brings the stop loss down to +1. That means she's got effectively no money at risk, okay, and she's got at least a 50 times risk to reward ratio in her favor. So quite often we get into a trade, we don't have a 50 times risk to reward, but we engineer the trade while in the trade for a massive risk to reward. And we've been doing that since 2010. That's what we normally do. Dave, you got plus 20 times 5 NQ reversal short off the 76s. So well done, you've taken another one. Senna, she exits via her target at 50 ticks. Yeah, so she's got a target set at 50, and she's got, again, if it gets her around about 30, say 45 ticks, if it's just above, like she pulled on my shirt today, I literally pulled on my shirt because she was at 45 ticks worth of profit. And I just turned around and said, lock in 20. So Senja just we can bring her stop loss on her long range targets down to 20. As the reason being, her KPI is 20 ticks. So if on a long range target, she can bring her stop to 20, it means that she's well over KPI, regardless of what occurs. If she picks up a 50 tick runner, as she's done on that exact trade, well, she's a very happy camper. Very, very happy camper. So I can show you that ATM tomorrow. I'll go and make sure that the ATMs I've got loaded on the NASDAQ are for the next trading session. Guys, so those targets, just to be super clear, are 20, 50, and 100 with the 100 tick target on 2 contracts. So that's what I use for the later sessions. All right, so 20, 50, 100, same stops. So as we're 1 minute, I'll turn the camera back on. We're literally 1 minute from the end of this particular session. So I'd suggest that the lessons out of today, so the early trades on the FDAX were very, very easy, guys, very easy and very profitable. NASDAQ, we had to wait a long time for a really good trade, but mind you, we waited and we absolutely belted it. For the S&P 500 traders, you guys have had a very, very quiet session. We've only picked up 1 or 2 trades, but they've gone to target, which is most important. Dave, you got your 1200 for the day, so you're done. Well done. Absolutely brilliant. Now the flip side of that, Mark, yeah, if we get enough demand, Mark, if we get enough demand for a US Open LTR, we'll turn it back on again. But it was turned on and it was absolutely phenomenal. It was phenomenal. There's no question. And that's it, guys and girls. Again, as you know, we're working with the Trading Pit. The goal is, guys and girls, to get NinjaTrader integrated into the Trading Pit so we can then get everybody funded who wants to be funded. That will be a turning point, a really, really important turning point for this LTR. As the reason being is once we get 100 traders in the LTR, we get at least 50 of them funded. So I said nothing stopping us pulling at least $250,000 a week out of the markets doing what we do, which is only 50 grand a day, guys. It's only $1,000 per day times 50 traders. That's a $50,000 per day. Do that 5 days a week, guys. On a good week, I think it's looking pretty good. So on that note, ladies and gents, we're at the end of the session. I've got you tomorrow night, guys. So I've got you tomorrow night. I'm expecting the market to be moving faster. So tomorrow night's going to be a little bit faster. Friday, Cody's going to be taking the session with you. He's very, very good at what he does. The flip side of being very good, guys, I think Friday is going to be even faster again. Okay, what's going to blow up my plan is, of course, geopolitical news. So if there is some geopolitical news that comes out, it might surprise the market. I'd suggest the surprise will be positive, and I'd suggest we're going to, I wouldn't be surprised, guys, if by the end of tonight on the NASDAQ, I wouldn't be surprised if we're already trading at 20,000. That's how quickly these guys are going to go back up again, because there's absolutely no reason for them to go down. There's no negativity in the world unless you watch mainstream media, and then there's lots of it. Alan, yeah, Wednesday coaching is on tonight, guys. So for those of you that have got access to coaching, Damsy's running coaching tonight, guys. He's up to session 4 of the 12-week cycle. It's going very, very well. It's going very, very well indeed. So yeah, Damsy will be doing that Wednesday tonight, guys. And I will see you tomorrow, guys and girls, for another session, guys. Another session. I'm expecting tomorrow night to be more exciting. I'm expecting to be more exciting. I think it's going to move faster. Suffice to say, we've done okay today, guys. I think we're going to do better tomorrow. All right. So,
well, Lachlan, first of all, I want to say I think you've done more than okay. You guys are doing great. Thank you so much for this session. We wanted just to hop on here and say thank you, everyone, again for joining us, whether it's here on Zoom or on our live broadcasting that we're currently having. You can see us on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. So thank you so much for joining us. More interesting things to come. I see kind of Mr. Lucky here teasing a little bit about various things, maybe not, who knows. Soon updates. I promise, guys, if there's anyone who's going to hear about any upcoming things, you'll be the first to know. Okay, we'll let you know very, very soon. I have here Alex with me. Alex is one of our business development managers, so we wanted to hop on here and again say thank you, Alex.
Thank you very much, everybody, for being here with us today. And Lucky, thank you very much. I cannot wait to try what I learned today in our new client strategies. So wherever you are in the world, good morning, good evening, or good night. Thank you very much for attending the live trading session. Looking forward for tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, guys.
See ya.
see you tomorrow. All right, guys. Have a great night.